just going to go live. Yes, here we are live in State Control Britain on YouTube. Lee, what was you looking at there? What was you looking
I was just looking for my phone, actually. I was just going to turn up and I just got a notification coming. So I thought I'd better be polite and turn the do not disturb button on. And so it went ping.
Right.
So, there you go.
Okay. Well, let's have a look then. So we're live on YouTube and you've got some viewers. I've got some viewers. And the wonderful world's best nutritionist is also on the stage. Richard Smith.
Look at that.
Gentlemen, good day.
Hello, mate. Wasn't expecting you. Go away, Richard. Just go away.
Steve says the same thing every Sunday evening.
Yeah.
How's it going? All right?
Yes, all good, man. All good. You?
Cool.
Long time no speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've still got to get you on, haven't I? But you notice anything about the sound?
What have you
crisper.
done?
I've got a new mic.
Fantastic.
Finally got a new mic.
Is it good?
Yeah. Sounds good to me. Stephen said it sounds pretty good, so that's I'm happy with that.
Sounds good to me also.
I used to offend Stephen with my sound quality. I think I've offended quite a few of my subscribers actually. But, yeah.
Well, you don't seem to be doing that bad to me anyway.
Cool. Good stuff.
No, he's doing very good. Yeah. I tell you what was quite funny, Lee, and Rich, you don't know this. I sent Lee a thing about the GLP-1 drugs. Some influencers telling you what you should eat. Should we do a little
not coffee?
Should we do a little video about GLP-1? And then Lee sent me about 5-6 different messages, which he started with, I haven't got much to say about it, and ended up saying ever such a lot about how bad they are. And I had somebody tonight actually did a bit of personal training. I don't do much of one-to-one, and their friend has just started Wegovy, and they weren't aware that there was even side effects. There's 2 times the amount of incidences of blindness. There's already 2,000 lawsuits in litigation against the GLP-1 drugs in this early 200% increase in depression and suicidal thoughts.
Wow.
You lose weight, but you lose muscle and bone, which is really difficult to get back. And you lose enjoyment. It's incredible. The part of why you don't crave food is because you don't really want to do anything. So, I just thought that
it's going to have downstream effects, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
It's not just one thing that it does, one thing and equals the other thing. That's it. It's that simple. It's always more complicated than that.
It is, isn't it? It's
so when did that drug first come out? Because it was first just to treat type 2 diabetes, wasn't it? And then it started to be more addressing sort of obesity and things like that.
Yeah, well, over a decade. I mean, it's been around, and it was a diabetic drug. But the increase in hormones we've known about so I can remember knowing about them when I was training. So that was like 15 years ago. So they've been around, but it was the dosage then. You see, it was a much more modest dose, and it wasn't used for weight loss. Weight loss was a sort of side effect, a bit like when we talk about carnivore and people get their health better, and the side effect is losing a bit of weight. But well, everyone's saying hello in the chat, but there's no questions. So should we talk about the Great British Meetup a little bit? And I think George might be watching, so if he wants to join us, he could. I know he said 1:15, but we haven't got any questions, so
you can make everything a bit more it's symmetrical, isn't it, I suppose? But we can fill the screen.
Yeah,
he's got the detail. He knows the ins and outs of all of it. So if you've got any questions, George is the man.
Yeah, although we can give some information, can't we?
Yeah,
I've just popped a link for tickets into the comments, and if you go into the description on my channel, then the full write-up is there with a link to book tickets. But yeah, I can't wait. It's the first conference, I think, of the year for me.
Me too.
Yeah, so I mean, we're well over halfway into the year, and I think it's going to be absolutely incredible. I think tickets, as Stephen's just popped on the screen, are limited. Hey, George. How are you doing, man?
Really?
Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. Breaking up. You back?
Nice to meet you, George. I think.
Yes, nice to meet you guys as well. I've been a fan for a long time, so it's actually nice to be on with you, which is my privilege.
Awesome. Well, can you introduce yourself and tell us why you're part of this Great British
Yeah,
Meatup?
certainly. My name is George Goodenough. I'm 59 years old. I am from Bridgewater in Somerset. I've been a carnivore now. Well, I've been on the low carb carnivore journey for 3 years and 4 months since I was diagnosed with morbid obesity and type 2 diabetes. Sound familiar, Richard?
Yeah, just a bit.
And basically, I've lost 120 pounds, and my nurse tells me that I am cured of type 2 diabetes on account of the fact that I've had 3 perfect HbA1cs in a row. So I'm very much part of the carnivore community now. I've been around sort of since 2023. I'm probably more involved with the American carnivore community than with the British, and they're great fans of the meetup as a way of improving community. And I think it was probably in January of last year when my great friend, the carnivore soldier, Larry Allhands, organised a meetup locally to him and sent me the photograph. And there was people like Lynn Tucker and Ribeye Ranger there, and the brothers, the carnivore brothers, Ashley, and I can't remember the other gentleman's name for the minute. And it kind of put the idea in my head. So I was really waiting for somebody to invite me to a meetup, but it kind of never happened. I know we have conferences, and such as the PHC and obviously the Carnivore Conference, which happened last year. I think Phil Escott was involved in that. But the idea of the actual meetup is, that was you, Richard. Was it Richard?
That was me.
Okay.
Me, Sylvie Hall from the Real Food Company, and Ben Hunt organized that one. But there were other events at the same thing. But yeah, incredible event. We're open to organize the next one.
But
I have to get you there for that.
But nobody really came up with the idea of the American version of the meetup, which is kind of more of a party, more of a social. So I thought, well, if nobody else is going to invite me, then I better start inviting people. So I was lucky enough to have a blueprint through a guy called Ashley Maunder, who is a caterer. More of him later. He used to throw a party, a rugby sevens tournament at his house back in the day, and I was a rugby player. And I approached him and said, can we do something based on the Butley Rugby Sevens tournaments at your house? He said, yeah, we can do, and I'll do the catering. But he said, we've got a much better place just down the road now called Sourdown Farm, which has opened recently. And so he put me in contact with the owner. So we've got the caterer, we got the venue in place, and really everything just fell into place after that. I recruited Carl Day from the Primal Lifestyle as my co-conspirator. And because he's got much more business acumen than myself, he took over the technical side of things, the ticketing and that sort of thing. I'm your local talent. I'm the liaison officer locally with the caterer and with the venue. So that's the story, really. And that was in October last year. We put out the concept video. It all seemed like a great idea and a long way at the time. But obviously, as it gets nearer, so it's sort of I lose more and more of my hair every day. We've recruited some great people along the way to be on the committee, including Lee, Lauren Tucker, Farmer's Wife Farming Life, who I think is watching tonight. I think I saw her in the chat. Sarah Wright, Healthy Carnivore UK, and a couple of other people. Sadly, we also had Alex on the committee, and as we know, we've lost him very suddenly this week, which was obviously, it was a cause of great upset for us. But the show must go on. We've processed it. We've done our tributes, and the meetup itself will be a tribute to Alex as well. So that will be done in his memory. We've got over 100 people coming, so it's not a bad turnout really for a first attempt. And I think hopefully that answers the background to the meetup. And I'll back to you guys, and I'm here. I'm at your disposal to answer any questions from the audience or from yourselves.
Well, I have a question. Why is there a deadline on booking tickets?
The reason for that is that Ashley is the caterer and the butcher, and the meat that we will be getting will be actually. We need to know the numbers, because he needs to actually have the animal slaughtered and hung, because we'll be having lamb and beef, and they will have to be aged for 2 weeks. So therefore, we actually have to give him the numbers 2 weeks in advance. So yeah, it's desirable if everybody who wants to come in comes in on by July the 19th, please, because it's going to be very difficult for him to actually judge the amount of meat required after that. So that is the reason why we have a deadline on the sale of tickets.
Brilliant. Okay, well, that's good. I was also going to say, I've got a rough list of people that are speaking. Do you have a more sort of firmed up version?
Okay, yeah, I can give you the pretty much the full itinerary now. We have Carl Day of the Primal Lifestyle. He is the master of ceremonies. He is actually a professional stand-up comedian himself. He has a comedy act, so he will be very good as the MC. I will then take over and I will talk about the carnivore community and the importance of the carnivore community. And then we have, after that, the wonderful Stephanie Taylor, who is of happy, sexy health. I can never get that one right. She's a stage 4 ovarian cancer sufferer, and she's on chemo, but her energy levels are incredible, and she's a very strict carnivore, so she has a great story. We will then have Lauren, who has her own great story as well. I think you will know Lauren anyway. And then Lee will take over and be the speaker prior to yourselves. And then you guys will take over as the keynote speakers around the 12 o'clock mark. We'll take it through till probably around the 1300 mark. So if you want to split the hour down between the two of you, but there's no real strict, we are flexible. And then there will be a Q&A session, and that will wrap up the speeches for the day. And the rest of the day will be given over to lunch, socializing in the afternoon, a raffle at 4 o'clock, and then the disco will start at 5:30. Sourdown has a fully licensed premises. So there is a bar there. So anybody who still drinks alcohol, I don't. I'm now 4 months into having given up alcohol. Will be more than welcome to use the bar. And I've already warned Lucy, the hostess, that she should up her order of sparkling water and still water, mineral water for that day. So she is aware of the fact that most of us will not be drinking alcohol and will act accordingly on the water supplies.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
That's good. Yeah. So we've got links in the descriptions for all the YouTube videos that we're going out on Lee's channel and Richard's and myself, and I'm on Facebook as well and X. So we've got over 90 people watching. If you're in the UK, I strongly recommend you get your tickets because you've only got 4 days to do it. And as George so rightly put it, I mean, I remember when I started going carnivore, I was so disappointed. I had no one to talk to. I really felt very isolated. Exactly the same thing you were saying. And all these American influencers talking about, the carnivore bar or carnivore crisps in it. And I was thinking, we've got nothing here in the UK, but now we have. I mean, we've got tons of carnivore stuff, and it's just so nice to have meetups as well.
Yeah, can I just point out that many of the people who are coming, I know from WhatsApp, from YouTube, and from email, but I've only actually met 2 of them face to face, both from Somerset. One of them being Ziggy Carnivore Camper, and the other one being Lauren herself, because Lauren and I live an hour away from each other, and I was fortunate enough to go to hers for lunch back in April. Very good lunch as well. Thanks, Lauren. So even though I know a lot of these people, I know their names, and I talk to them every day on WhatsApp, it will be the first time we've actually met face to face. I wasn't able to get to the 14th of December Healing Humanity meetup in London. Well, I know that Lee met quite a lot of the people who are coming on August the 2nd, but I was not. I had a prior engagement, a Christmas lunch engagement. I was jealous, but I was very glad to watch all 3 of you guys there. So so come August the 2nd, then all of us would have met a lot of carnivores from the UK community, and hopefully we'll build some friendships for life. There will be music, there will be dancing. My knees damage done over the years probably won't allow me onto the dance floor, not without treading on some toes anyway. But I know some of the younger folks will be wanting to dance. I think Lauren said she wanted to dance the night away, so we'll hand it over to her.
Right, brilliant. Are you guys okay to do a couple of questions?
Yeah, for sure.
Give an example of what you can do on the day, because I'm sure you want to ask questions when you come up. So we'll have a look at this. So we are all one. So my wife has MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome, and MTHFR, which is a genetic thing to do with your iron. Anyway, she has a histamine reaction to everything, even fresh animal products. Any suggestions?
Yeah, kidney. If you put in some organ meats, I'd recommend a little bit of liver, beef liver, ideally for the MTHFR. Liver is very high in vitamin B2. Many people who suffer with MTHFR issues methylate slowly, and it's to do with a lack, or it can be increased at least with a little bit of vitamin B2, which is found in very, very high quantities in things like beef liver, organ meats in general. But kidney is very high in a compound called diamine oxidase, which is going to help with the histamine reaction. As you rightly say, I'd advise to stay away from aged meats, mince meats. Mince seems to be higher in histamines. I think it's to do with the grinding action, plus the meat that they tend to use is a little bit older anyway. But pop those in, some good quality organ meats, beef liver. If you don't like organ meats, look for a good quality organ meat supplement. But beef liver and some kidney should help address that in simple terms. That's probably the shortest answer I've ever given, Steve.
Yeah, well, histamines, there's three ways to look at it: what's outside, what you're putting into your mouth, and what happens inside your body. And DAO, which Richard is alluding to, which is in kidney, diamine oxidase, is the thing that degrades histamine, and many people don't look at that part. The body is amazing at taking things in and breaking them down and getting rid of what we don't need. And because we've been eating the wrong way for so long, some of our levels of DAO are really, really quite poor. So I would say, even fresh animal products, even if they're causing you problems, then maybe it isn't that. Maybe it is the fact that you just can't clear. It's not the food so much as in the clearance. So the DAO enzyme, which you can get as a supplement or in food, I think will really help you. Also, you could do other stuff, because if you take today, it's very cold, and then your house might be very hot, or you go into a car and it's air conditioned. Try and look at other things outside that can actually exacerbate it, like temperature extremes, sudden changes in temperature, odors and chemicals. There might be something else, so both Richard and I talk about tallow cream. I use this Fat Cow one, and Richard uses the tallow glow. You could be putting something on your skin that like a fragrance or some sort of cleaning product is causing problems. So I would look at the whole thing really holistically. And Lee, you did a brilliant video the other day where you sat outside and you said, this is really good, this is what all humans used to do. We just sat outside. We were outside in the sun every day, every morning. It's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah. I thought that was a great video, by the way.
Yeah, cheers. Well, yeah, there's more to this living and being in optimal health than just eating diet. I do put it at the top of the hierarchy, but you got to think that we were outside, we were adapted to the cold, we were grounded most of the time, we were getting all different spectrums of light throughout the day, natural, and we weren't looking at concentrated blue light once the sun's gone down. And this allows our bodies to have a healthy sleep-wake cycle. The hormones are being produced and released at the right times and the right amounts. There's more to this than diet. The water you're drinking, a lot of people aren't talking enough about the water that we drink, but if you can get some water in glass, distill it, remineralize it, and structure it, that's the best way to go, because once upon a time we used to drink the water out there, but we've sabotaged everything. There's microplastics and all these horrible dissolvable solids in all of our water, and we need to clean it and make sure it's mineralized properly, because just drinking water out of a plastic bottle that is devoid of minerals isn't really that healthy. And people have the idea of just constantly drinking water all day long. Oh my God, I forgot to drink water. And it's like, but you're drinking too much. And they're aiming for clear pee. Like you said, I think you've said, urine is waste product. It should not be clear all the way through. It's a mistake. So yeah, there's far more to this than just diet.
Yeah, it should be light straw coloured for people that want to know. If it's dark, you're not drinking enough, and if it's clear, you're drinking too much. So, George, will there be? You sort of went over the running order. You mentioned a Q&A. Is that a Q&A that's going to take a while, or will there be cards that people can submit when they turn up?
No, what it will be is that basically when you guys have finished your speeches, then we will have some time afterwards when The audience can ask any questions of any of the speakers, really. Lee, Stephanie, Lauren, me even, and we will answer them. We'll just have a bit of audience feedback. I've got no doubt that most of the questions will be aimed at you guys, because you are the sort of the experts. We're kind of the lay people, but you never know. There might be some questions that we can all actually get involved in. We just want the audience to feel, everybody to feel very much involved in the day. When we won't put a strict time limit on it. We'll wait until the questions dry up, because Ashley will have his team there with the whole pig and the beef and the lamb roast, and there will be some burgers as well. Stephen, I think we had a conversation earlier about Ashley has now taken on board the idea of the carnivore burger, which is which won't be his traditional burger with seasoning. He sort of said, "Oh, I hadn't thought of that." So yeah, they are going to be pure beef now, with served with salt. There won't be any pepper seasoning or any other form of seasoning in them. He has actually come on board with that. So Stephen, put that one, another small victory in the game of life for you today, my friend. So yeah, Ashley is taking that one on board. So that's good news.
Yeah, I think what you need though is when we get to the question and answer, an hour extra just for Richard, because his answers are so brilliant. Yeah, they're so brilliant.
I've got it in my head that I've put down 1:30 on the running schedule, but I've got it in my head that probably by 2:00 we will have to call it and go to lunch for a couple of hours. Like I said, raffle at 4:00, proceeds to Healing Humanity, and then 5:30 the music starts. So really, the difference between the meetup and a conference is that 2/3 of the day will be given over to socializing, so everybody can mix and mingle. You guys as well, because I can appreciate that when you go to conferences, you do your speaking, and then you are sitting in the audience for the rest of the day. So your fans don't really get a chance to speak to you enough, whereas you'll be able to get around all of your supporters in the afternoon and evening, and everybody will get a chance to talk to you. You will get a chance to talk to everybody as well, because obviously the carnivore world is a world of equals, really, because it's have you ever noticed that none of us really talk about what we do away from carnivore? We only talk about carnivore. It doesn't really matter whether you're a business executive or whether, like myself, you are a gate man in the construction industry. Nobody seems to mind. Nobody seems to care. There is no sort of hierarchy from that point of view. We're all just carnivores together. So it really is a great leveler, I think, carnivore, because most of us came with health problems, and we're more concerned about that than what we are about any social status or anything. So I'm very much looking forward to being able to mingle, talk with you guys, and talk with all the people I know online, and also the people I've never met at all in my life. So I fully expect to go away with a full book of friends, and I also hope that we will go away and everybody will say, well, when are we doing it again? Because it's certainly my intention to actually do it again next year. So yeah, let's hope it works out that way.
Brilliant. Fantastic. I will be bringing some of my books, by the way, if people want to do that. We really need to talk about super chats. Someone's paid £5 to have this question. Regarding blue light, what about in the summer when the days are so long? What time should I wear my blue light blocking glasses?
Well, yeah, we should be driven by nature, I think. If the sun is up, then there's no need for the blue blockers. I think we should look at the day and the sun in the sky as our metric in regards to how we live our lives. We should sleep when the sun goes down and we wake when the sun comes up. So the blue blockers for me, Stephen and I both have blue blockers. I don't get on very well with mine, believe it or not. They do cause issues for me, but there are some brands that are better than others. I'll pop a link to a few businesses and links that sell good quality blue blocking glasses, but wait for the sun to go down. But ideally, try to avoid the light from your television, your PC, and your mobile phone. When I sleep, the mobile phone is in the room with me. There's no TV in my bedroom. I haven't had a TV in my bedroom for quite some time, but my mobile is away. So my bedside table isn't actually a bedside table. It's away because when it's plugged in, I'm worried about the Wi-Fi and everything else, as well as the blue light. But when you wake up in the night to use the toilet, try to fight the urge to use your mobile and try not to turn any lights on when you use the toilet. And you can even purchase red light bulbs, or blue light bulbs, I guess we call them. Again, I'll pop a link for a business that sells those, and they are highly recommended if you're looking to pull any additional levers.
Brilliant. Lee, do you have anything to add? Because you're very much into all this stuff.
Yeah, it depends for me. I mean, recently I've been putting these blue blockers on at about 8:30, so very close to now, if I'm watching the screen. So I typically will go out there around about this time and just chill in the garden and walk around in my bare feet. You know, I just enjoy nature. I love being outside. And I'll see the sun is setting right over there right now. And when that light starts to basically the sun isn't really present. It's kind of completely disappeared. It's now just kind of like this matte light everywhere. I walk back in, I put the blue blockers on, and if I might just chill for about half an hour, 45 minutes with the blue blockers on. I actually find when I put these on, 15, 20 minutes later, I'm yawning. So I don't know if it's in my head or if it's just that I've got good circadian biology going on, but I'm also hearing the birds at kind of 4:45. That's when I usually come to sort of just linger in bed these days until about 5, maybe 5 past. By the time I get outside, like Richard said, I go into the toilet and I sort myself out. Not in the dark. I've got these skylights, and so I leave the bathroom door open so I can see what I'm doing. But when I finish, I go straight outside, ground, and just embrace the natural light as much as possible. So it depends. If I've got screens going on inside, sometimes my eyes just start hurting, and I'm like, I think I'm just going to stick the blue blockers on. I don't, my eyes want to rest, and so I can continue going. I start yawning, you wind down, and then you relax for bed. So that's what I do.
Brilliant. Okay, let's have another question. Thanks, Vas, for the super chat. Everything helps. Do xylitol mints actually help with cavities and tooth decay? My meals are mostly carnivore, but include about 10 grams of carbs. Well, if you've got 10 grams of carbs, you have to leave the room now. We can't answer that question. No, right. Have you got anything, Richard, on this? Or
yeah,
Lee,
look, they can help because they help with the bacteria that sugar thrives on. But do you need to eat them or chew them if you're carnivore? If you're not consuming carb or sugar, then my answer is no. The thing with xylitol is it's a polyol. It's a type of sugar that is touted as being zero carb because polyols are generally not absorbed within the body. But that's a lie. It's a fallacy. Up to 65% of the carbs or sugar can still be absorbed from things like xylitol and maltitol and so on and so forth. So if you are carb counting on a ketogenic or carnivore-based lifestyle and you are counting all of your polyols as being zero, you may be in trouble and may encounter problems because up to 65% of those can still be absorbed as carbs. Now, 10 grams of carbs from xylitol isn't going to cause a great deal of problems. And Steve was joking in regards to leaving the room. The community is incredibly dogmatic. And I think we've kind of lost our way in regards to the carnivore and keto police. This is all about the rule and not the exception. So as long as you are hitting the big or pulling the big levers, consuming good quality animal proteins, particularly beef and lamb. Lamb is more nutrient dense than beef, by the way. Higher omega-3 content by 10 times, better vitamin B profile and amino profile. That's not to say, I'm not saying don't eat beef. Somebody said this to me recently. You say not to eat beef. Not saying not to eat beef is fantastic. I still prioritize beef because I love beef. But pull those levers, avoid the seed oils. And I think the biggest lever that anyone can pull is avoid those grains. Grains cause intestinal permeability, the root cause of all autoimmune disease. So all of these other things, if you are consuming xylitol and maltitol as a segue in order to bettering and improving, is bettering even a word, improving your lifestyle, then fantastic. But just be mindful that xylitol isn't zero carb. The only polyols that are erythritol and glycerol. The glycerol falls into two categories. It does come under the category of a polyol, but it's also a sweet type of fat. Those are genuinely zero carb, and obviously stevia can be processed, but it is natural. Again, it is a plant, but that is zero carbohydrate and generally elicits zero response. So if you're looking to add in any form of sweeteners, those are my protocols. But chewing gum on carnivore, I don't think it's required because you are not consuming the sugar. So xylitol can help if you're eating sugar, but generally you're not when you're carnivore, so you don't need them.
I mean, it's coming from studies where people eating a lot of carbohydrates. So you will find that people say xylitol mints do help with cavities. But what it's actually doing is exactly what Richard said, attaching to bacteria that's not there in the first place. And the other thing, and this came up last night in one of our lives in our school community, someone said, "Oh, I'm eating now, my jaw aches." I said, "Well, that's because you're chewing," or Richard did, one of us. We tend to say very similar things. So you've got this mechanical digestion all of a sudden, your saliva will flow more. So all the things that xylitol mints do, you do when you eat meat. You don't have all the bacteria in the first place, and you also chew a lot, and your saliva goes, and the pH is managed. So, Lee, did you want to pipe in?
The only thing I would add again, if you just think, what did we do 50,000 years ago? We certainly weren't chewing any of this stuff. We weren't brushing our teeth with all this toothpaste that we use. It's very simple. We ate species appropriately. And when you do that, you don't usually have to worry about tooth decay, etc. Look at every other animal when they eat what they're designed to eat. All the enzymes, everything in their mouth, the way the body works in that unique species, whatever it might be, they're geared up to eat what they're designed to eat, and it wouldn't destroy their teeth. And the same goes for us and eating meat. We know we ate mostly meat.
Yeah, can I just jump in here a second, folks, if I may?
Yeah.
And that's, I want to talk about the lamb that Richard just brought up. I absolutely blame Richard for the fact that Aldi's meat shelf is devoid of lamb at 10:15 every Sunday, because I've cleared the shelf of all the lamb leg steaks. My eating routine during the week, Monday to Friday, is 3 10-ounce raw lamb steaks every day. And since I discovered the raw route about a year ago, I've seen a massive improvement, even again on top of carnivore, in my GI health, and also my weight. I am now, at the age of 59, below my 17-year-old weight, which was 12 stone, and I'm actually regularly showing 11 stone 13 at the moment. And that is eating, as I say, 30 ounces of raw lamb every day. I am a massive follower of Dr. Kiltz. I'm actually on his coaching course at the moment as we speak. So he's very much approves of what I'm doing from the raw point of view. I can recommend it. I know that Lee also eats quite a lot of raw, and there are quite a few of us out there now who are going down the raw route. And I think most of us can actually say that we are seeing improvements in our health. So thank you, Richard, for pointing out the fact that lamb has 10 times more omega-3 than beef. And I still do eat steaks, as in the weekends. My wife likes to cook them, but lamb, it would always be my first. If I had to just eat one meat or one food for the rest of my life, it would be lamb. There's no question.
Yeah,
excellent. We do. Right, Daniel, you've asked a question here. I have a question. How could you feed the world's population on grass-fed animals? Really easily. This is one of my bugbears, so I'll go first if that's okay. Did you know that the Earth's surface, 29% of it is land? That's the first thing. All right, so let's look at that. 11% of the entire Earth's surface is available for grazing, for livestock. Yeah, so we got that. Right, 11% of the world's surface. Now, here's the thing. How many people cover the land? Well, if you got everybody to stand next to each other, it would cover 0.29% of Spain. Yes, that's every single person on this planet. 7.9 billion people would fit. So we don't understand the scale of these things. We are told that we need depopulation. Anyone that goes traveling will see acres and acres and acres and acres of land. You're being lied to about absolutely everything. Sorry if this gets us taken down, but that's the facts. So if you look at the world's population of people, that would mean all the Americas everywhere, all of Russia, China, no people in there whatsoever. Then you went just down to Spain. It's not even 1% of Spain. That's so in comparison, we just don't realize how big the world is and how much land there is. So that question there's plenty of capacity. You've also got to say to yourself, if we were all eating animals or grass-fed animals, we could get back all the monocropping spaces. We would not need to do any of the net zero rubbish, because methane, cows don't make methane. A blade of grass dies, it releases methane. If a cow eats it, it releases methane. It's not new methane. Then it goes up into the atmosphere, and 12 years later, it's back down in the plants. So we could easily do it. We could absolutely easily do it. Sorry, but I'm happy to hear other answers. But I just wanted to be a bit anal about the numbers.
Mine's a bit more gloomier answer. Don't worry about it. No one's ever going to do it. It's never going to happen. You're never going to spend the whole planet eating only meat. It's never going to happen. So I wouldn't worry about it. But like what Stephen was saying, marginal land is representative of 2/3 of all agricultural land. And what can we do with that land? Graze ruminants. It's as simple as that.
Brilliant. That's good.
It's the law of supply and demand. It's the law of supply and demand. Basically, the greater the demand, the more that people will try and supply it. Therefore, more and more ground will be given back to regenerative farming versus monocropping and agriculture. So the more people demand meat, then the more will be produced. It's as simple as that. Supply and demand. The market rules.
Yep. But we're trying to get away from the propaganda that's trying to stop the demand. That's the other thing. Andrea, thank you for the $9.99. My favourite carnivores all together here in the same place. It would be a dream to meet you all at the Great British Meetup, maybe in 2026. Thank you for everything you do. So that's very kind of you, Andrea, and very nice that you keep supporting and doing that. That's really appreciated. Here's one for Richard. Can Richard's Keto Pro electrolytes cause a problem with blood sugar for a reversed carnivore diabetic?
They shouldn't have any impact on blood sugar at all. I've never known it to. So I mean, there's no compound in there that's going to elicit any response, unless you have what's called a cephalic response, where something sweet hits the tongue, and this will elicit an insulin response. But it won't increase blood sugar. So it can have an effect on insulin, but it shouldn't affect blood sugar. Mark, it'd be interesting to hear if you think that it has. So pop in the comments or drop me an email. But no, they shouldn't, essentially.
And this is, I know Richard likes to keep his light under a bushel, but there's, plenty of people jumping in saying, I've lost 200 pounds, mostly on Richard's products, top quality stuff. So I'll do it for you, Richard. You don't have to show off.
Look,
and that's the thing.
Look, I appreciate that, but I had this conversation, and I'll keep this brief, I promise, with a client today, that you can live and thrive on a carnivore lifestyle, on an ancestral appropriate lifestyle. You don't need any supplements or any swaps. As long as you eat good quality animal proteins, natural fats. I do think there's a benefit to organ meats also, but we tend not to do many things that we would have done through our evolutionary period. We don't drink the blood. We don't crush the bones. We don't eat the bone marrow generally. We don't eat the connective tissue and the soft bones. I do all of those things other than drink the blood, which I probably would do, actually. But it's never there in the meat when I buy it. But that's where the majority of things like our electrolytes would come from, and our collagens and so on and so forth. And the lifestyle that we would have lived through our evolutionary period would have been very different. The stresses in nature, for example, the amount of stresses, and I quite often use the analogy that we're fighting for survival. So we have one big stress: find food and eat and survive. And in modern life, it's not that our stresses are any more, but we have more of them. So instead of having a 10 kilogram weight to carry around, which is heavy but manageable, imagine carrying 10 1 kilogram weights. It's the same weight, but it's far more difficult to carry 10 1 kilogram weights than it is to carry 1 10 kilogram weight. And that's what we face in modern stresses. And this can impact what's called our HPA axis, which is how we produce cortisol. And cortisol, to contrary to belief, isn't the demon that it's made out to be. It is essential, especially if we're carnivore, because we need this for gluconeogenesis. So it's in circumstances such as this where little swaps and little supplementations, as Vaz has mentioned there, can be beneficial. But you don't need anything. You just need to consume good quality animal proteins and natural fats while avoiding the toxic compounds that are absolutely everywhere in everything. If you go into the supermarket, almost everything in the supermarket contains toxic substances. Just pick up your favorite pack of Mr. Kipling cakes, or a box of Pringles, or whatever it may be, and you'll find a whole list of toxic compounds on there which are not fit for human consumption.
Lee or Jules? Well, I've got a question that might actually make you want to rant again, actually. But I'm putting them on in the order that they're posted, just to be fair to people.
Vaz, I appreciate
CEO,
that. Sorry, Steve.
Sorry, right. This Eric here says the CEO of Ketone IQ, which is a supplement provider, claims his product, a 3-ounce shot. This is the one that Robert Cyrus pushes. Says you don't need to be keto or on the keto diet. You just take his product, Keto IQ. My head drops when I read stuff like that because it's a bit analogous to the weight loss shots. You know, it's not about anything other than eating properly, what's good for you. It's not about a drug. It's not about a supplement. It's about eating the right thing, which is crazy. And I know you just had a rant, Richard, and I'll let you have a rant, but I find this one of the most troublesome things. It's no good. You know, if someone said to me, I want to work out, I want to grow muscle. And I said, well, here's your workout program. That's what you got to do. You got to read that workout program. You don't have to work out. You don't have to do anything. Just read that. Or I tell you what, why don't you drink lots of water and sort of blow yourself up a bit so you look bigger? It's just, you know, it's ridiculous. It's all so superficial. The whole point of the keto diet is eating the right food, not eating the bad food. It's not about a keto reading. It's not saying I've got, look at my ketones because I've taken this thing that's just pumped it all up. Your relationship with food is atrocious still. You know, so sorry, that's my little rant. If you want to add in, I'm quite happy. But to me, it's a ridiculous thing to say.
100%. So Ketone IQ produces exogenous ketones. Guess what I also make? Exogenous ketones. Different delivery system, pretty much the same stuff, except mine is bound to salts, which is more beneficial. Talk for another day. I could sit here and tell you that you all need to buy exogenous ketones. And the fact is you don't. You just need to do, as Stephen says, and eat good quality animal proteins. You need to remove the toxic compounds. Now, the claims that the product can will elicit the same benefits, it can be beneficial as a supplement. I would argue that exogenous ketones are probably the most underrated supplement on the market, but you do not need to take them, and that won't be better than living a ketogenic lifestyle. The foundation for all health and well-being comes to what you put into your mouth. 95+% is what we eat. You know, your body is an F1 race car. And if you wouldn't put red diesel into your F1 race car or into your jet, if you do, you're not going to fly as well. You know, you're not going to drive as fast. If the input is wrong, the output is wrong. So diet, what we put into our mouth, what we drink, that is the key to everything. And again, it's good quality animal proteins and natural fats. Now, ketones do have huge benefits. They can be beneficial for a number of reasons in circumstances where, for example, a family member may be suffering with Alzheimer's or dementia and won't change their diet. Then putting an exogenous ketone in can help block inflammation. It can supply ketones to the brain because the ketones there will breach the blood-brain barrier. It can help increase mechanical efficiency of the heart and blood flow and do all of these fantastic things that ketones can do, but they'll never do them as good as the diet, because this isn't just about producing ketones, as Steve says. This is about removing the toxic compounds that are causing that inflammation in the first place. Exogenous ketones, I believe, can help with public speaking. I use them for consultations. I'll be using them at the event on the 2nd. You'll see me drinking my raspberry bomb because I believe that they'll flood my brain with pure clean energy, allow me to focus and deliver my presentation, hopefully without messing any words up. I'm not a good public speaker, believe it or not. I don't speak well in public places. I don't present well, but the ketones allow me to do that. Now, I produce these naturally. And again, in regards to things like athletic performance, you can flood your body and you can perform outside of the box. So when we evolve as a species, we've evolved within a certain remit. Now, life today, modern life, is outside of this box. We choose to run 26 miles at sub 6 minute miling, and we choose to do Ironman competitions and run faster and lift heavier. These things are not ancestral appropriate. Now, this company supply to athletics teams, and they can help. But again, this isn't human nature. This is something outside the box, but this is an addition. This isn't the foundation. So I disagree with the claim that you do not need to live a ketogenic lifestyle. The diet comes first. Any supplementation comes later.
Brilliant. So here's a question. I'm gonna add a bit before we all answer the question. Daniel is quite clearly not interested in what we're actually trying to do and trying to ask questions to trip us up, but I don't think he realizes what the answers are going to be. So he says, a question for the panel: would you be happy to take your children to see the animal slaughtered? Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. But I would like all food production to be looked at by school children. So I want kids to go to an industrial chemical plant where they're making pesticides. I would like them to go to a field and see the destruction of all the hedgerows and all the trees as they rip it all apart and take away all the habitat for all the birds and all the animals that are naturally there to plant carrots, for instance. Then I'd like them to see the application of pesticides onto that carrot plant, and then to watch under a microscope the absolute havoc it causes to all the insects and all the bees and all the microbes in the soil, and see them dying a horrible death. I'd like to see the combine harvester harvesting it all and the animals running in absolute fear, if there are animals left, because it's very doubtful. And I'd like the children to go out and see this horrendous plastic covered monocrop that goes on for miles to grow a flipping carrot, and tell the kids, do you think that's a nice way to live your life? That's personally, because you're looking at it completely wrong. You're looking at it from one perspective. Right. I actually think we should know where our food comes from, and I would be much happier than taking my child to a farm to speak to the farmer who knows all the animals, what they do, has probably had that farm handed down from years and years and years from their ancestors, who actually know how to look after those animals, how to get the best out of their animals, actually care for the animals and give them the best life that they possibly can have. I'm not into industrial farming. I'm not into chickens being in cages where they can't move. But when you look in Britain, for instance, you can see the sheep. You can see that they are out there on the pasture. And yes, they die. But I'm afraid it's still one death per person, but it's also one death per animal. And there are absolutely more animals being killed for the fruit and veg than there are for feeding a carnivore. So, yeah, Daniel, I have no problem with that, as long as we look at the other side and we also look at the numbers. So we can say to the kids, to feed you for a year, one cow will die, or to feed you as a vegan, we're going to look at maybe 21 times the amount of destruction. We're going to look at little bunnies and butterflies. We're going to look at little harvest mice. They're going to die. They're all going to die. They're going to have nowhere to live anymore. Those birds that were nesting in that bush, then those bushes are not there anymore. So that's my answer, but I'm happy to open this up.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's my rant. My rant.
You were referencing a talk that you and I did last year, which was taken down by YouTube because we looked into the data and discovered that the best case scenario is 21 deaths per vegan per year. A carnivore living a lion diet kills one animal. Worst case is 4 to 5. So there's still exponentially more deaths. And that is incredibly conservative, because glyphosate in the States alone damages 100 million birds with 10 million deaths each year. And that we didn't even account for that within this number. But whole ecosystems are destroyed through monocropping and growing crops. And as you rightly say, the only way forward, and as George has alluded to, is regenerative farming. This is the only way that we can sustain life and cause less death. A true vegan is a carnivore. And when we look at why you become a vegan, for example, there's typically 3 reasons: animal cruelty, the betterment of the planet, and your own health and well-being. The carnivore wants the same thing. We want the same thing. Yet all of these things are far better when you're carnivore. The high quality amino acids and nutrients and fatty acids from animal proteins are far more beneficial. You can't live, there's nutrients you cannot obtain from plants. The planet is far better off because, as you say, the methane cycle, no new carbons are created. And in fact, we see a reduction in greenhouse gases because of regenerative farming. So the planet is better off, and there are far less deaths when it comes to regenerative farming, which is what all of us on the call, I think, bide to. We all disagree with caged animals. I don't eat chickens in a cage. I'm dead against animals being locked away. This is all about animals roaming free, and as George mentioned, this regenerative farming. But those are the facts, and this was taken down when Steve and I posted it going back last year. So maybe we should repost it and delete some words, Steve.
Yes. I didn't realize that was taken down, because I shared that, didn't I? I thought that was a good video. Didn't realize.
The question was fairly emotive about children. Can I just point out that I was brought up on a small holding. We actually raise geese every year. Come December, it was my job to herd them into the pen and to close the gate, make sure they didn't get out while they were slaughtered. I was 9. I was a child. If I wanted to eat those geese for Christmas lunch, which I did with relish, then I had to be part of the process which actually brought them to the table. So there's emotive nonsense about are we going to show our children? Children are also carnivores. Children also eat meat. So they should be part of the process as well. I feel very strongly about this, I must admit. And plus the fact that I used to go out with my ferrets at the weekend, or my older brother's ferrets, and we were very proud when we brought home the rabbits that got wrapped in bacon, because rabbits aren't fat enough. And we were very proud to put them on the table. So yeah, as a child, I was very, very much involved with the process of the circle of life. So I don't see the problem at all. So there we go.
Shouldn't say the circle of life, because Lee will burst into song and get his piano out.
No, I won't. I'm going to turn around and jam on the piano, mate. That's what I'm going to do.
I'd really like that. That'd be great. Right. So we're just for people that aren't sure what we've been talking about, we're just giving you an example of how the conversations might go if you turn up on the 2nd of August at the Sourdown Farm in Somerset. And if you get your tickets before the 19th of July, we can see you there, and you can ask us lots of questions. Just to go through again, that we have speakers, and just to sort of keep everyone up to date with what we're talking about here. Let me just share that, because that's who's going to be speaking, and they've all got their own journey. They've all got their own, personal journey to talk about. So Stephanie, they're sharing a journey of thriving post-cancer. So this isn't just like a sort of glib conversation. Richard, you would not believe his before and after pictures. Obviously you can see the after because he's sitting there, but you wouldn't believe it. I mean, Richard sent me stuff when I first met him about 4 years ago. Of course, I met him when he was fit and healthy, and he sent me some pictures of his past, I think, for an interview we were going to do. I didn't even recognize him. Seriously, I did not recognize him. In fact, when Lee did a video recently and he showed some pictures of when he was younger, I just thought, well, that's not the Lee I know, not at all. So these people are all speaking. George, you've just heard from, so I'm sure he,
yeah, we're actually missing Lee on there for the simple reason that Lee didn't actually jump in until sort of fairly late in the day. So Lee is also speaking at the meetup as well. Just thought I'd point that one out.
Yeah, Lee, what are you going to be talking about?
Do you know, it sounds a bit cheesy, but I always turn up and just speak from the heart. That's what I do. I never plan these things. I might have a brief sort of understanding of what I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to talk about food and life and lifestyle and something that we can all hopefully connect with,
Yes. Well, you did brilliantly at the Carnivore conference last year, which was excellent. Was that from the heart as well then?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I didn't expect to go where it went, and I was almost in tears. So yeah, come and see me do it all over again.
Yeah. And Richard,
sorry, I just need to point out that Steph actually is suffering from cancer again. It went away, but she's actually back. She actually has the cancer is back, and she is on chemo, but her energy levels are better than before she was diagnosed with the cancer. And I happen to know that she had chemo the day before the PHC, the Public Health Collaboration Conference, and she went there and basically went through the whole conference, no problems at all. Met Professor Thomas Seyfried. Her energy levels are higher than before her diagnosis, and that is while she is still going through chemo. And the same can be said for my own wife, Lainey, who is a cancer sufferer. She is in long-term remission now, but because of the nature of the cancer, she is on oral chemo, and her energy levels are through the roof. She's like a domestic whirlwind around the house. She and Steph are very good friends, and they are, both of them, incredibly energetic, considering that they are both going through some form of chemotherapy. So you'll be able to meet my wife Lainey as well at the meetup, because she's organising the raffle. So she will be able to tell you about it. So yeah, that we have 2 or 3 cancer sufferers that I know of who will be at the meetup.
Excellent, that's great. So I think we've just got a couple of minutes to go. Would you want to wrap up in any way at all, any of you?
Yes, I would like to wrap up. A bit of admin about the meetup. It's at Sourdown Farm. There are 2 entrances to the farm. One is to the farmyard itself, which is also to the shop. Now, that's the only parking down there is for the shop customers, but also for those of limited mobility. So if you have limited mobility, then there is parking in the farmyard itself. However, if you are able-bodied and fully mobile, then please go up the hill to the entrance in the field, and then you drive down the track to where the parking is. Because there will be not that many of us for Sourdown, there will be plenty of parking fairly near to the event itself. And also the camping is in the same field, but away from where the parking is. The parking is near the road. There is a huge camping area in that field. So that is actually how we get in there. There will be a registration process, which is being taken care of by our sole American visitor, actually, who's flying in from Atlanta, Georgia. He's volunteered to do the registration, and that will be at a table. So yeah, from 9 o'clock onwards, the registration will be taking place. That's the last bit of admin that I really wanted to clear up.
Okay, well, it's the 15th of July on this live. If you're looking at a playback, if it's gone past the 19th of July, if it's the 20th of July or after, you've missed the boat. So you really need to get in to get your tickets. Links are in the description. Richard, do you want to say a final thing? And then Lee, and then we'll shut down.
Yeah, appreciate that. I'm super excited. And just to reiterate what George mentioned in the beginning, I think something we can all attest to is that this community is an incredible community, and it's something that I spoke about in the last conference that we were all attending, and that's, I felt ostracized my entire journey because no one else understands. These meetings are an incredible opportunity to bring people together, like-minded people. We all have that family member or group of friends that just don't understand and think we're a bunch of weirdos. But the fact is, once you see the light, once the fog has been lifted, you can't unsee the dangers and the detriment that some of these products that we consume and are deemed to be healthy, within modern life. If you have the opportunity, then get a ticket, come and meet us. We're all there available to chat, and I promise that you will make some quality friends for life. I am super excited and cannot wait.
Yeah, just come and meet like-minded people, meet all of us. We're very, very happy to speak to everybody. And I think actually, you don't have to be a strict carnivore. If you're on the fence a little bit, I think really it's ideal if you eat meat. But there are some other options, aren't there? I don't know if you want to touch on that, George. But
basically because there will be some people coming, maybe as the partners or the kids, then Ashley has said he will have some under-the-counter contraband bread rolls and applesauce, that sort of thing. But you will have to actually ask for those, because it will be assumed that it will be meat only. But if anybody actually wants a bread roll who isn't a strict carnivore, then they will be available on request, and there will be applesauce and all the condiments to go with it. But we will be looking to, obviously the established carnivores will just be having meat only, with no applesauce, no lamb mint sauce or anything like that, just salt. You will be able to get your carbs if you really want them.
Yeah. See you there.
Yeah.
See you there.
See you there. And if we didn't get to your question, we are doing another live at 6 p.m. tomorrow. I think Lee and Richard, hopefully. I don't know if George will be here, but
tomorrow night I've got a lesson with Dr. Nelson, so I've got to go. I actually have a 2-hour Zoom call with Dr. Nelson tomorrow night for the Dr. Kilts team, because I'm doing the coaching course. So I'm afraid cool. Wednesday night's given over to the coaching course.
Brilliant. Anyway, so we'll maybe 3 of us then, the 3 Musketeers. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. if we didn't get to your question. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you all.